Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the most shocking and heartbreaking twists of your favorite daytime dramas. Today is a day of unprecedented tragedy in Los Angeles, as the glittering world of high fashion collides with a gruesome reality. Let us explore the devastating events that have forever altered the landscape of the Spencer, Logan, and Forrester families. The atmosphere in the grand exhibition hall of the newly minted Logan Fashion House was nothing short of electric, vibrating with the palpable anticipation that precedes a historical industry shift. For weeks, the corporate warfare between Forrester Creations and the rising Logan brand had been escalating in the shadows, fueled by secret defections and bitter family rivalries. Tonight was supposed to be the ultimate culmination of Katie and Bill Spencer's ruthless master plan. It was the night they would publicly unveil their crown jewel, the secret weapon they had poached right out from under the arrogant noses of Ridge and Steffy Forrester. The media presence was unprecedented, with hundreds of cameras and international journalists packed shoulder to shoulder, their lenses focused sharply on the end of the gleaming catwalk. Standing in the VIP section, Bill Spencer radiated a predatory triumph, his chest puffed out with the unmistakable pride of a corporate conqueror who had successfully orchestrated the ultimate coup. Beside him, Katie Logan Spencer watched the runway with a mixture of smug satisfaction and nervous excitement, knowing this single evening would forever cement her legacy as a standalone fashion mogul. They had poured millions into this aggressive launch, utilizing every ounce of Spencer Publications' media dominance to ensure the entire world was watching. The stage was set for a flawless victory, a dazzling display of haute couture that would not only humiliate Forrester Creations, but also establish the Logan brand as the undisputed pinnacle of Los Angeles high fashion. Everything was proceeding exactly according to Bill's meticulous design. Backstage, Hope Logan Spencer stood trembling, but not from fear. Her trembling was born of pure adrenaline and the profound liberation of finally stepping out of the oppressive shadow cast by Steffy Forrester Finnegan. For months, Hope had endured Steffy's relentless mockery, the continuous sidelining of her beloved Hope for the future line, and the sheer indignity of being treated as a second-class citizen. Her secret defection to the Logan brand, bringing the immensely talented Deke Sharp along with her, had required grueling overtime, immense psychological fortitude, and a terrifying leap of faith. She had risked her relationship with her mother, Brooke, and defied the Forrester dynasty to reclaim her creative worth. As the opening notes of the dramatic runway music echoed through the backstage area, Hope took a deep, steadying breath, ready to show the world exactly what she was capable of achieving. The music swelled to a triumphant crescendo, the heavy velvet curtains parted, and Hope Logan Spencer emerged onto the brilliantly illuminated catwalk. The crowd erupted into a deafening roar of applause, the sheer volume of their approval washing over her like a tidal wave of validation. She was a vision of absolute radiance, draped in a magnificent, avant-garde gown that represented the very best of Deke Sharp's revitalized genius. The dress shimmered with thousands of hand-sewn crystals, catching the blinding flashes of the media's cameras and reflecting them back into the audience like a constellation of stars. With every confident, measured step she took down the runway, Hope felt the heavy burdens of her recent past melting away. This was her moment of ultimate glory, the definitive proof that she was a fashion icon in her own right. She smiled brilliantly, searching the crowd for the proud face of her husband, Liam Spencer. But as Hope reached the end of the runway, striking a powerful pose for the photographers, the triumphant atmosphere was suddenly and violently shattered. The heavy double doors at the back of the exhibition hall burst open with a deafening crash, cutting through the pulsating music and the roar of the crowd. The flashing red and blue lights of multiple police cruisers outside bled through the grand glass windows, casting an eerie glow over the glamorous audience. A squad of uniformed police officers, led by a stern-faced lead detective, marched aggressively down the center aisle. The music was abruptly cut off by a panicked sound engineer, leaving a chilling, suffocating silence in its wake, broken only by the confused, frightened murmurs of the elite guests. The detective bypassed the murmuring crowd, marching directly toward the edge of the catwalk where Hope stood frozen, her brilliant smile slowly faltering into an expression of profound confusion. Bill Spencer immediately abandoned his VIP booth, his protective instincts flaring as he stormed toward the police, demanding to know the meaning of this unprecedented intrusion. Katie followed closely behind him, her heart pounding with a sudden, inexplicable dread. The media, sensing a scandal of monumental proportions, did not lower their cameras. Instead, they pivoted their lenses toward the unfolding confrontation, their flashes popping in rapid, aggressive bursts. The detective held up a hand to silence Bill's furious demands, his expression a mask of grim professional sorrow. He looked directly up at Hope, his eyes reflecting a tragedy that was about to permanently destroy her world. The words that left the detective's mouth were spoken with a heavy, clinical precision, yet they echoed through the cavernous, silent hall like a series of devastating explosions. He announced, his voice carrying over the breathless crowd, that Liam Spencer had been found brutally murdered at his private residence just moments ago. The sheer brutality of the statement hung in the air, a grotesque juxtaposition against the glittering, superficial glamour of the fashion show. It was a sentence so incomprehensible, so entirely detached from the reality of this triumphant evening, that for an agonizing fraction of a second, no one moved or breathed. The collective gasp that followed was a wave of pure, unfiltered horror, a visceral reaction to the sudden, violent extinguishing of a life so deeply intertwined with the very fabric of their Los Angeles community. For Hope Logan Spencer, the detective's words did not merely register as sound. They struck her with the physical force of a freight train. All the strength, the confidence, and the radiant triumph vanished from her body in an instant. Her knees buckled beneath her, completely unable to support the sudden, crushing weight of her shattered reality. Hope collapsed right there on the edge of the catwalk, her body hitting the hard, polished surface with a sickening thud. The magnificent, crystal-adorned gown that had just been the symbol of her ultimate victory pooled around her trembling form, its pristine fabric dragging against the floor, metaphorically soiled by the unimaginable darkness of the tragedy. A guttural, agonizing scream tore from her throat, a sound of such profound grief that it caused several guests in the front row to physically recoil in empathetic horror. In that agonizing, heart-stopping moment, the fashion war that had consumed their lives was instantly rendered meaningless, replaced by the darkest, most catastrophic public relations nightmare in the history of Los Angeles. The media, driven by the ruthless, insatiable hunger for a headline, did not look away. Instead, the flashes intensified, capturing every agonizing second of Hope's devastating collapse. They photographed the exact moment her heart broke, documenting the tragic transformation of a triumphant fashion launch into a gruesome crime scene announcement. The images of the beautiful, radiant designer sobbing uncontrollably on the runway, her glamorous dress pooling around her as police officers secured the perimeter, will be splashed across every tabloid, news network, and social media platform before the night was even over. It was a macabre, horrifying spectacle that no amount of corporate spin could ever erase. The shockwave of the detective's announcement hit Bill Spencer with a devastating, paralyzing force. The ruthless corporate titan, the man who had spent weeks orchestrating the destruction of Forrester Creations, was instantly reduced to a shattered, grieving father. The realization that his beloved son, Liam, the moral compass of the Spencer family, had been violently stolen from him caused Bill to let out a roar of pure, unadulterated anguish. He pushed past the officers, dropping to his knees on the edge of the runway to reach out to Hope, his own tears mirroring her uncontrollable sobbing. Katie Logan Spencer stood frozen in absolute terror, her hands covering her mouth as a silent scream racked her body. The triumphant alliance of the Spencer and Logan families had been completely obliterated, replaced by a suffocating nightmare of unimaginable grief and sudden, violent loss. Amidst the deafening wails and popping camera flashes, the terrifying question of motive spread through the stunned crowd. Who would possess the malice required to brutally murder Liam Spencer on the exact night of his wife's greatest professional triumph? The collective consciousness immediately shifted toward the bitter corporate warfare raging behind the scenes. Suspicion heavily and suffocatingly fell upon the one person who had explicitly vowed to destroy hope at all costs: Steffy Forrester Finnegan. For weeks, Steffy had been consumed by a toxic rage, relentlessly mocking Hope and halting her fashion line. When Steffy discovered Hope's secret defection to the rival Logan brand, her fury had known no bounds. To the police and the grieving Spencer family, Steffy possessed the ultimate motive. She had the resources, the blinding hatred, and the ruthlessness to orchestrate a strike that would permanently